Going on YouTube, Tiger here. It's like 1 in the morning. I just put Emily to bed. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of a workaholic. I just started working on a movie, whatever. Yeah, I do this all the time, constantly. Anyhow, today I want to talk about challenges of living in a different country. I mean, I feel like this subject and idea applies to anyone going to any different country. And the first challenge, of course, is language. That's the first one. And you got verbal communication, along with listening and all that, reading, writing. Then you got non-verbal communication, basically, because like American non-verbal communications would be completely opposite of Japanese non-verbal communication. Japanese is like a monoculture, right? So they kind of like can like know what each other is thinking without talking, because the culture is relatively the same for everybody. But in America, you know, we're a multi-cultural country, so non-verbal cues are we're always learning new ones, and language too. We're always making up new words and learning new words. So the culture in America, I feel like, has a little more of a learning curve to it, where here there's a learning curve to it, but at the same time, it's once you get up to speed, it's slow and steady. Anyways, the second thing I want to talk about is just like culture here. That's the second and most important challenge, because once you become like able to talk at least enough to fulfill your basic needs, such as eating and stuff, like making friends, maybe dating, depending on if you already have a partner or not, stuff like that. This is the basic necessities of life. Then you still gotta, you know, adjust to the culture, because Japanese culture here, where I'm at, is like completely opposite compared to, like, say, if I went to Canada, where I can adjust relatively well, because Canada is like 2 hours from where I live, over in Seattle. So, and they're really close culturally. Then if I went to Australia, at least we both speak English, Australia and America, so me adapting to their culture, I can do it really quickly. And I would even say, to some degree, like Latino culture or like South America, I think I can adapt to that pretty quickly. I can probably pick up their language within a year or two, where, you know, Japanese language is a lot harder. To some degree, I would say people from Asia, in particular, like, you know, like China, they have more of an advantage, because they already know all the kanji, right? I'm not saying the kanji is the same, it's not, but just knowing kanji in general, like when they come here, kanji's not a problem for them. When I talk to all my classmates, I have like 6 classmates that are, you know, from China, and they're like, kanji is easy, no problem, whereas the other classmates are from like westernized countries, like English speaking or Spanish speaking, and for them kanji it's a little muzikachi, difficult for them. So, and me as well, obviously. So yeah, so they have kind of an advantage there. And plus, like, even no one really says this or talks about this, like, you know, since Japanese is like a monoculture, typically, so 99% is like all Japanese here, right? So like, if you look Asian or kind of Japanese, they're gonna like kind of favor you at first more than other foreigners, very simply, which is, I feel like, a slight advantage. It's not a big deal. You know, once people get to know you, and if you're a decent human being, more than likely, and you work hard, and you know, people will give you a chance, compared to like if you're obviously not a decent human being. But I'm just saying, like, if you look Asian, or if you look even Japanese at all, you're gonna have like a slight advantage over someone who does not. That's just my opinion. Some people might argue that differently, but this is based on my own experience and what I've seen. You know, working here, interacting with people, talking to other foreigners here. They said their experience in like their experience is different than mine. And everyone I met that's like, you know, from some sort of Asian country, I feel like they got like not exactly treated better, but they got accepted a little faster. So like, I guess like seeing someone, okay, so you're from like China, so Japanese are not gonna be like so, I guess, scared at first or nervous, you know, because like sometimes, you know, it's hard to tell if they're Japanese or not, especially when they're like mixed with half, you know, so they look kind of little, you know, compared to like a Western person, or, you know, someone that's mixed, like from Japan and from the West, they still look clearly different. But anyways, that's like fine. That's just a reality. Anyways, back to culture. Like, American culture and Japanese culture is completely opposite. For example, this is a small example. American emergency number 911, you know? Here it's actually 119, which is really very opposite, right? That's like one example. That's not, yeah, then like things that affect you, the work culture here is different. Like in America, like at least the culture I, worked in, like if you had a problem, say with your boss, right? You'd go to your boss and be like, look, I got a problem. And then you'd kind of take it up with your boss and hopefully fix it there. And if not, then you'd take it to a higher manager, or you go to someone with like human resources, where it's an open door policy type of deal. Here in Japan, it's slightly different. It feels different because like people I've worked with, like foreigner, Japanese, whatever, the Japanese would just go straight to the boss, and it feels like it's behind your back, but it's not really that. It's more like they don't want to make waves kind of thing. But for Westerners, they feel like they're getting backstabbed, which I'm not saying that happens. I'm just saying that's what they feel, Westerners feel that way. Because, to like the foreigner's face, they're all like, yeah, okay, I totally agree with what you're saying, we should do it like that. And then they go to the boss and they complain about you. And they say that, basically you're doing it wrong and all this stuff, and they could have easily just told you to your face. And that's not exactly Japanese way. So that's like one part of culture you have to get used to when you work here. Just letting you know, like I had to get used to that. I'm still not technically used to it, but at least I understand it enough to not be like, I don't know, upset about it, I guess. And like the companies I work for, they actually explained this very clearly before we started working. They're like, look, this is how it is. This is what they might do. Blah blah blah. So don't be so offended. They're not trying to backstab you. It's just culture's different here. And I was like, okay. So it was nice that they kind of let me know and stuff like that. That's why I'm letting you guys know. So if you guys ever come here and you feel that way, just understand that's kind of their culture. They don't want to make waves, and going to the boss and having it fixed kind of like, indirectly is easier than like coming to you and like you might get upset and like some kind of fight breaks. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that's just how they see it compared to us. Where more than likely, if I was working with an employee and I had a problem with them, I would just tell them like, hey, look, I have a problem with this, is what you're doing, why are you doing it? And we'd probably have like a conversation, and it either would get fixed, or we would just take it up with another manager and he would fix it and hopefully wouldn't fight about it too much. And so in Western culture, that's more like, I feel like, I guess for us it feels like respect, I don't know, or just more to how things are done. Like, just confronting your problems, like where here it's more like don't make waves, right? So people here don't like to complain so much, so you have to kind of go behind the back door to have the problem solved indirectly, but the problem gets solved. But again, like I said, Westerners sometimes get kind of upset about this, So that's one thing. That's working culture. You have to get used to that. Going to school. When I went to school here, like every day a new teacher. Like right now, other schools I went to, we had 3 teachers, and this is like throughout the week. So it was like something completely different. I had to get used to. Yeah, like Western, like colleges. You have like and high school and stuff. You might have like 5 teachers in one day, so like an hour for each class. But you see those teachers every single day. It's not like, okay, Monday it's this teacher here, Tuesday it's a whole new teacher, because every teacher has a different teaching style. So it's a new way of learning to get used to. So it's slightly kind of hard, I felt like. For example, this current school, like Monday's teacher is like the best teacher in my opinion. Then you get to Friday is like, I feel like the least experienced teacher. Yeah, so like there's like a clear difference in teaching styles and abilities and stuff. So I feel like Friday teacher, she like needs a little more training, where Monday's teacher is probably one of the best teachers I've ever had, right? So it's just something to get used to. In the end of the day, it's just me trying to pay attention and focus and learn as much as I can. And that's just like the difference in schools and stuff like here. And another thing about schools, or just culture overall here, it's just like, let's go with their television, Japanese television. What they find entertaining is a lot different than America. I talked to many foreigners, and they just really, they can't understand why the TV here is entertaining. And I've been here for like quite a while, and at first that was kind of my attitude too, so I just never watched Japanese TV. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't without like probably passing out. Now I've been here long enough, I actually starting to find things that are entertaining and stuff. Like, for example, on Monday randomly I found this TV show. It was like Japanese Superman, but it was really funny because like Japanese like to laugh, so they like comedies. Anyways, so Japanese Superman, his ability is same as Superman, but he's scared of heights, so he don't fly high or anything like that. Then his like family always kind of sort of treats him bad. So he's married, and his wife like he came home and he's like, hey honey, how you doing? You know, he's like very loving, and she's just all cold, and he's like, where's my dinner? Because he's just worked all hard. She's like, your dinner's on the table, and he went to the table, it's like a bowl of rice, and he's like, Nani, what is this? You know, and like, so when he does the Superman thing, he saves the day all the time, but as soon as he leaves, everyone forgets that he was ever there, right? And so like he saves the day all the time, then like his power makes everyone forget that there was a problem in the first place. Then he'll come in just as normal dad, and then his family kind of treats him bad again, which is really funny. But it took a while to get used to Japanese TV, and that was an interesting thing. And they have a lot of other like television shows now that I actually can watch. It's not like they never had anything entertaining, it's just that like it took me that long to get used to the culture to understand why it's entertaining. Japanese TV is actually very much like YouTube. In fact, if I would have to say, it'd be like YouTube but 10 years ahead of time, right? They're so far ahead of YouTube with their entertainment and all that stuff. That's why for me, I'm like, what is this, you know? Now, like, I've kind of caught up and I kind of understand it now, and I see why it's like very interesting, or omoshiroi, as they would say here. So, but I'm saying it took me 8 years to finally adjust to the culture here. 8 years, and I still don't speak Japanese like as good as I'd want to. You know, I can like live by myself and actually survive by myself, but I still want to be better at speaking. Anyways, I think I've kind of rambled on long enough. It's still very late. I am actually tired. I'm not gonna finish this video. I will do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is a daughter daddy day. Every single Saturday I watch my baby. I'm gonna watch her till like 2, then I'm gonna take her swimming and all that stuff, and usually have a nerdy day. I don't show every nerdy day, but for me, I have a nerdy day every time I go there on Saturdays. And, you know, look at anime and nerdy stuff, and then go watch her swim and all that. But yes, I have to prepare for tomorrow. And yeah, so I just want you guys to understand, once you come here, if you do come here or go to any country, you get the first challenge, right? Which everyone knows, it's language and stuff like that. But it's not just verbal, it's also non-verbal cues and stuff like that. That's the learning curve right there, because you might speak very good language of whatever country you're at, but the verbal cues might be completely opposite from your culture. So you might be like seem great, but the person you're talking to might be turned off by the way you act or your actions. Maybe you're too aggressive for them. It's really difficult to figure it out sometimes. So that's a challenge. Culture overall is a challenge. So, you know, give her time to adjust, of course, whatever country you're at. And yeah, I think you'll be okay. So the challenge culturally is always to learn, accept, adjust. In the end of the day, you know, because wherever you go, they're not going to change for you. Everyone's not going to learn English just because you know English, of course, right? So you got to change to adjust to it. The reason I'm here is because of my family. I love my family. I want to be with my family. So I'm doing whatever it takes to be with them. Anyways, hopefully this is kind of helpful. Peace until next video. And yeah, if there's anything you think I missed, any like other challenges, maybe you already live in Japan, and you think there's some other challenges that I just didn't say or whatever, because, you know, then you can just put in the comments below. If you have any questions, again, comments below, whatever. Because anything like I don't know, I can always ask a friend, I can always ask the wifey, or whatever. Anyways, peace until next video, and have a happy holidays. Till next video.